Hey guys and gals, Never here for Drake Week Game, and it's something on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you with a Let's Play episode of Soulcreek, The Whispers of Carmine. So let's go ahead and jump right back into it, shall we? Alarm chain, you were up, and let's go. How long had passed? An hour? 2? A day? The effects of Zhana's Dawn Lily toxin came and went. I was delirious. When I heard the slicing flesh outside, I assumed it was a dream. The dull thud of a body hitting the floor. Less so. My head shot up, eyes wide in alarm, and when the door opened, I glared in disbelief and fury. Taki? I hissed at the honey badger. She stormed inside, shutting the door behind her. Shh! The young warden scrambled instantly to the pole binding me, fumbling with the restraints. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Rescuing you, white-furred ass. The restraints became looser. Fucking told you this shit was cracked. Where's Loken? He's hiding. Look, I was gonna come, but he made me. Little shit's got real cute eyes when he's sad. Broke my fucking heart. What can you say? I groaned in frustration. Stupid boy. That stupid, kind boy. You shouldn't have... Oh, shut up, Taki grunted. The rope around my wrists became loose, and I pulled my arms to the front. They ached, but I was free. I struggled up to my feet, wobbling. Taki dropped her spear and grabbed me before I fell. I clung to her, wincing in pain. The wound in my belly was burning. Aya, what's going on in this place? I growled, trying to stand on my own 2 feet. Taki gently pushed me, but I wavered again and fell against the post. Zhana, she's lost her mind. Alira was right. They're turning people, making them informed. I don't know how. Taki didn't seem to understand. She was too young for all this. She was a warrior, not a black runner. What the fuck did we do? We need to leave. Get back to Dravonia. I need Caius. I need his army. Taki was shocked. That bad? Yes, that bad. Whatever Taki's rescue plan had been, it hadn't been tight enough. Outside the hut, a rasping voice bellowed. Zhana's shout bled through the walls. Join us! Outside! Neither of us moved. I glared at Taki. You were seen? The badger just growled, furious and confused. I was fucking quick. I don't know how... Quickly now... Zhana shouted again. The boy is here. No! Ignoring all sense of self, I pushed past Taki and stumbled out the door, heart beating in horror. Outside, the hut had been surrounded. Darkness had fallen in its entirety. Zhana's cultists, those who were once the Oxtail clan, waited patiently. Each clutched a makeshift weapon, a farming scythe, a pitchfork, a mallet. But these were not warriors. They were victims of Zhana's so-called wisdom, and the Lynx herself was among them. Beside her, 2 fully grown bipeds struggled to contain the writhing, spitting, and biting of a child. Loken! All caution was thrown to the wind. I tried to rush for him, failing to spot the blade in Zhana's hand, the same that she'd drawn my blood with. Taki was the savior who pulled me back, the badger reading the situation far better than I had. I was blinded by fury. Loken looked at me. His eyes were flooded with fear. He tried to reach me, whining and yelping desperately, but his captors held him back. She dared? She dared to hurt him? Release him! Immediately, or I'll kill you all! I spat, shaking with a rage that brought me closer to my feral kin than I'd ever imagined. Loken never once stopped fighting his captors, both clearly restrained to their limits in their efforts to keep the small husky contained. One had blood pouring from their hand, the flesh bitten deeply by tiny, relentless jaws. Taki joined my side, spear raised. Will someone tell me what the fuck is going on? Zhana scoffed at Taki. You're below this, badger. This is about them. As she spoke, her eyes turned to the distant cottage that had been locked up with chains. Inside, I could hear the wailing of the informed. It was a piercing, violent shriek of broken, insane voices. The chorus was enough to break the will of anyone. I could only imagine what subjecting oneself to it every day had done to the minds of these people. Taki heard it too. Bless me, huh? Taki heard it too. Her face paled. Aya, she whispered. What the hell's in there? I didn't answer. Zhana turned back to me. Your acolyte came by himself. For you. I groaned, both humbled and heartbroken. Stupid, kind boy. Zhana was right. One way or another, I would be his death. I won't ask you again! Let him go! Your spear, Badger. Zhana pointed to Taki. The warden glanced at me. Desperate, I just nodded. Taki threw her spear down to the ground, enraged. Good. This was all fated. It is the correct path. Hey, shit, you old bent! Taki spoke before thinking. Zhana moved the blade to Loken's throat. I surged forward again, but stopped when the boy howled as the blade kissed his throat. Zhana, I hissed. Please, stop this! I can never harm a child. The lynx shook her head in sympathy. Even here, now, with the blade on his flesh, he's safer with me than you. It stung deeply. I was battling my will to surge forwards and tear Zana's throat out with my fangs. She tested my will once more when her blade slashed against Loken's paw. Blood dripped down, and the boy howled. Nothing hurt me more than hearing his wails. Taki grabbed me before I could run to him. It gave me immense pride to see Loken snap his jaws at Zhana as she dripped his blood onto her blade. He had far more courage than I ever could have imagined. I just wanted to see him free, see him run, see him safe. I would die for that. I would kill for that. Zhana looked at Loken's blood, dripping from her dagger to her lips. Don't you dare, I hissed, fighting against Taki's hold. The honey badger was staring, face contorted in confusion. Zhana licked Loken's blood from the blade. No! Say nothing to him! I howled. Even the boy was startled by my alarm, eyes locking onto me in fear. Loken, cover your ears! Don't listen to a word! But Zana's audacity had no limit. Once again I saw her head crane as though struck by some incorporeal rapture. All around us the Oxtail tribe leaned in, anticipating her next words with glee. Taki eyed her spear, waiting for a split-second opportunity to strike. There was a pause, tense, horrible, and inconceivably long. Loken stared up at Zhana, childish eyes full of fear and confusion. Ah, the old lynx smiled. A good hound, a strong hound, and so much fear. She shuddered. Your future is vague, boy. So many paths. I see blood, but also, she blinked, something more? Then everything changed. Zhana changed. Her delighted ramblings were stifled by a sudden hesitation. I froze, ears pining for the next words. This was different. Zhana frowned. She was confused, startled. Was that fear in her voice? Even the cultists around her sensed it. Once craning forward with satisfied glee, now they exchanged awkward, nervous glances. Zhana opened her eyes, licking Loken's blood clean from her lips. This boy, she whispered. You'll find... Oh. Then she screamed. Her cultists jumped back in horror. Loken tried to run, horrified. Taki and I stared, utterly startled. It was the terrified, agonized scream of someone dying excruciating death. Everyone was distracted, so I took a step forward. Zhana screamed again. She scrambled backwards, flailing and patting down her body as though she were on fire. No! Help me! Get it away! Get him away! Ah! Taki and I exchanged a look. I took another small, silent step closer to Loken. Zhana must just continued her wailing. You can't! Oh, away! It was never meant to be! Spare us! I readied myself. Please! It wasn't us! Taki lowered down and collected her spear. Monster! Stop the music! Stop it! Ugh! Then suddenly she stopped screaming. Her cries of pain turned to laughter. Her cultists were frozen in horror, completely unnerved. The lynx just smiled in bliss. Beautiful. Then, devoid of all hesitation, she slashed the throat of the cultist nearest her, the one holding Loken. Yep, she saw the way she died. Chaos erupted. The cultists, shocked and confused by their leader's actions, recoiled and began howling in betrayal. What was happening? Zhana grasped Loken by the throat. I lost all caution and charged. But Zhana didn't hurt Loken. She threw him at me. The boy collapsed on the ground. I threw myself down to grab him. My arms wrapped around the boy and I crushed him into my grasp, spinning us both around to put myself between Zhana and him. Confused, bloody madness followed. The cult cried and yelled in confusion. Zhana had killed one of her own? A spontaneous, unexplainable act of violence that left them stunned and bewildered. They raised their weapons, unsure who to trust, unsure what to do. I didn't care. I bent down and cupped Loken's face. I have you. I soothed him, moved to tears with relief. I have you, Loken. He was as shocked and confused as everyone else. He just stared back, broken. Zhana had disappeared into the darkness. In her wake, the madness of her cultists was shattered into something horrifying. All order to their insanity was gone in an instant. Betrayed, confused, and abandoned, they turned on us, on each other, on everything. Taki spun her spear around, roaring in fury. All attention went to her. "Back the fuck off!" she screamed at the Oxtail clan. They were advancing on her. "Hey, back off! We're leaving! Don't come closer!" But they ignored her, snarling, hissing, and shouting. They drew closer like ravenous beasts. "I don't want to hurt anyone! Get away!" I stood up, furiously grasping Loken to my side. I searched for Zhana once again, but she was gone. Without her, the threads holding these cultists' minds together had snapped. Nothing held them back. One of them got too close. I sensed the hesitation in Taki's strike. She didn't want this. These weren't soldiers there to test her honor. These were just people. Brainwashed and confused. Victims. But Taki struck regardless. Her spear burst through the biped's throat. Blood sprayed onto the honey badger's face as their throat was ruptured before our very eyes. I whirled Loken around, desperate to spare him the sight of the cultists' flailing agony as they drowned in their own blood. But we were met with the form of 3 more oxtail bipeds advancing on us. There was no talking them down. It would be an insane slaughter, one way or another. Why? Why had Zhana abandoned them so suddenly? To save herself? What in the name of the gods had she seen? Taki was frozen, horrified. The fatally wounded biped pulled herself free from her spear and writhed on the ground, dying slowly and painfully as her blood stained the snow red. The badger stared down at the body. Her will shattered. I'd seen that face in soldiers before. She didn't want this, but right now, she had no choice. "Taki!" I roared at her, trying to break her trance. It worked. The badger jolted to her senses just as 2 more lunged forwards, brandishing blunt weapons with clumsy, mindless zeal. I witnessed the badger's talent in those 3 seconds it took to take them down. 2 quick, clean slashes and they were dead. More blood covered the badger. I had no weapon. I couldn't help. There was no saving these cultists. If we were to survive, they all had to be dead by dawn. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pause it right there, y'all, before the mass slaughter begins. Yep, looks like Zhana saw her own death, and something else, which is probably going to tie into the next game. So, yeah, I love this universe, y'all. Lovecraftian, furry, cosmic horror. Hell of a combination. Anyway, thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell. Check out our Patreon and YouTube memberships if you can. It always helps. We're going to be going to see Evil Dead burn, y'all, so I shall let y'all know tomorrow how it goes. Anyway, I love you all, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye!